Hey everybody, it's Alexander Williamson and welcome to the Secret History Living Inside Your Aquarium. Today we're checking out my aquarium again and we're going to be doing a little species profile. We're going to cover 3 different species of the same sort of plant. Now this plant is called Lagenandra meeboldii, and it is an awesome plant. It's been in the hobby for about 8 years or so underwater, but it's been in the houseplant hobby for quite a while, probably the 1970s in the Western world and much longer in India, which is where it's from. So what I want you to look at is the big broad leaf here. You can see that it's got some kind of striations and it's pretty smooth, but it's got kind of some waffles or wiggles in the leaf, and it's got this nice you can see the veins, and it's got this nice linear pattern up the leaf that curves, and it kind of opens up like a giant cryptocurn. And so it's closely related to the cryptocurn family, actually, but even closer than cryptokerns is it's related to the homolomena, like Sudeku South varieties or Magii variety of the homolomenia, which basically grow out kind of like Anubias style plants with more of a tuber-like base or a rosette style base that then opens up. And so the other thing you'll notice about these plants, so this one here is called pink, and you might be wondering, why is this Lagenandra meeboldii pink? It looks green to me, right? Well, it's kind of got this nice gold color, and this has been under medium light, but watch this. When I take the light off of it, and it doesn't have the direct light on it, look at the color of the leaves. They sparkle pink and bronze. I don't know if this shows up on film. Probably not as well as it does in real life, but that is blaring pink that looks like metallic pixie dust or something on it. So that is why this is called the pink variety. Then up here, this one is called Lagenandra meeboldii green, and it has just green fluorescence to it. It's kind of hard to see, but it also has this metallic sparkle to it. Now this little piece just broke off from a big plant I have downstairs, and that brings me to my next comment about this wonderful little grouping of plants is it grows very wide. So it grows like a rosette in these clumps. The leaves all grow up in a little rosette and then they spread out. And so this plant was actually about this wide, and it started maybe this wide, and then this just kind of broke off the other day. So I brought it out and thought, let's do a video on these. And if you look at it, it's hard to tell at this age what plant it is almost. And you can still see some of that shimmer. So in the green species, you've got gold kind of showing up as a shimmering color there. You can see that gold and light green. And so I always love iridescence in plants, the sparkliness, especially since they're living in the darker jungles and things. And so this plant comes from Kerala, India. And again, let me just try to get that effect for you guys without too much glare. So you can see the yellows, you can see almost like this patchwork color, but then from above, which is this tank you view from above, it's just this brilliant pink color. And to me, I just think that is awesome. So it's a little tricky to see through the convex glass and everything, but I'm guessing you guys get the idea if you've seen Bucephalandra, things like that. See how it kind of has this metallic pink, green. I mean, it's weird to say that it's green and red at the same time, or green and pink at the same time, but it is. So that in my mind makes it a plant that stands out. And then the fact that it grows so large, let me put this back on. The fact that it grows so large and you get these little rosette things growing out that spread the plant so wide makes it a great plant. You can keep these, like I have down here, in the foreground, or you can start going towards midground or even background, just depending on the size of your tank. It almost looks like a sword plant if you can't see where it's coming from. Like, I've really loaded up this tank way too much, but if you had that coming out on its own with some crypts around the base or something, that would be just awesome, right? So the only thing that's different between this family of plants, the Lagenandra, and the cryptocorine or cryptocorns, however you want to pronounce it, is that the cryptocorns have actually, when they grow out, let me find one right here. They grow out as a convolute rather than a specific rosette. And so they have a convolute foliation, where that means that there's no one little bud that grows out. It's actually each strand of leaves comes out on its own. And the opposite is true with these. They come out of a tight cluster. And that's how you can tell them apart. Other than that, once they've already grown up, if you don't have any new growth, it's a little tricky. And the other cool thing about this plant is the way light shines through it. So you get this shimmer in this variety, which is called pink. And I got this from Han Aquatics. You can go to hanaquatics.com. I've got a coupon down below for you guys where you can get 15% off. The password code there is the secret 15%, and you can enter that into his coupon code area and actually pick up some of the rares that he offers. Also, I've got this purple sword fern plant and a little puffer that likes it. He guards it. And some of my other favorite rare plants are from him. This strain is the one called Pink that's from Europe. There's also a pink version in the US that's actually just the red version. And the red version I don't have here currently, but it's almost spot on to this color with highlight. And the more light you give these things, the more color they have towards one end of the spectrum for their name, but that doesn't mean that they have more color changing ability. And for me, I kind of like that subtle, like out of the corner of your eye, like, did that plant, does it have several colors in it, or what's going on with that plant? I like that a lot. And I like the light that makes it through the big old leaves down into this area, and you can actually see the water reflection from the surface on this moving water surface dancing down below here with the hues of the leaf. So I think that's really cool in this plant, and I would highly suggest getting one if you can afford it. And you can get the green type and the red type or the American pink type for pretty reasonable amounts, anywhere between $8 and $35. And then the European pink one that I have there in the center, I mean, those can go upwards of $80 depending on where you get them. And this is a full-grown plant, of course. So these plants, just to give you a rundown of what they need, they are considered probably a moderately difficult plant, medium difficulty. They really don't need a ton of care or trimming or anything like that for your aquascape, but they do need to be paid a little bit of attention to, just if you see they're dying back or something, because they need to kind of maintain homeostasis, keep the same kind of feel going in the tank. You don't want any spikes of other either hardness or temperature extremes or anything like that. But if you have a cycled tank and you're growing, a handful of plants, I bet you can handle this. The real limiter that calls it moderate, other than, you know, basic stabilization of your tank, is probably the amount of light that it would need. And then a little CO2 does help, but I don't run CO2 on this tank all the time. I just run it for a couple hours. You know, every couple of weeks I'll run it for a couple days for a couple hours, and just kind of give things a boost. But if you're going to use CO2, you only use a little bit of it. More is not necessarily better with it. It doesn't give it a ton more color, whereas light is what's going to give it a lot more color. So you can use spotlights like this that, if I cleared everything out, I could get it to turn that bronzy pink color more so than that green color. But I like it kind of in between there. And then as the leaves grow out and above, they'll actually take on more of a pink hue, and the under leaves won't, but it'll spread out, and then you can split it, which is great. So pH, you want to keep it between a 5 and a 7, a little on the acidic side, which is pretty easy for most people, 7 being neutral. With the temperature, you want to keep it around 55 to 82 degrees, and that's a big range, I know, but when it says that, it doesn't mean that you want to have it outside or somewhere where it swings like crazy. You want to try to keep it somewhere in that range all the time. So if you have a tropical tank, just keep it at like 76 or 78 and it will be happy. Other than that, it grows immersed, as I mentioned, for terrariums and house plants. It grows really well immersed, and it has a whole different coloration to it when you do that. And it's kind of an interesting and versatile plant. The fact that it grows more width than it does height is kind of interesting also. So that is what I have to say about this plant. And if you're looking for it, I know that Tron of Han Aquatics has it on his site. I'm sure you can find it. ADA Tissue Cultures at my local aquarium zen store. He has it. Steve has it. If you're in the Seattle area, comes through it as a tissue culture from ADA from time to time. And then I think Tropica also has either red or green available too. And you can kind of see this weird leopard print in the center of that leaf on the left there. In the yellow sparkling, and then when we take the light off of it completely, it's got that linear, the way the veins are growing, like a dusty pink sparkle to it. So I love this plant, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. So that is the species spotlight today. Again, here's the green version. You see it doing the yellow version of that. It doesn't have the dusty pink. The size of this pink one and just the sheer amount of colors, the range of colors in it, are what add to the cost. Plus, it's a newer plant in the hobby, speaking relatively. And the red is also probably the most affordable. So the red and the green are the most affordable. You can get those for easily $10-12 in tissue culture. And that will actually get you quite a bit of plant material to get going with. All right, guys. If you've had these plants, if you like these plants, please comment. Leave any tips, tricks below, what plants you'd like to see next. And if you haven't yet, check out some of my other species profile videos. And if you want to help the channel keep growing, visit some of the sponsors like Han Aquatics. Order some plants from him. He's got really great rare plants, and he may not be for everyone in the hobby, but if you're into aquascaping and you're into just beautiful oddballs and rare plants, he's the place, he's the guy to go to. So I'm going to leave you guys at that. Tell you guys, take care of your tanks, yourself, and have a great day. I'll talk to you guys next time. Please subscribe. Bye.